Good morning. Welcome back on this beautiful 1st of May. Mm. And so, another day of sketching. Eh? Can't get enough of that. A sketch a day keeps the bad drawings away. I forget who it was that said that there's 10,000 bad drawings in you, and the sooner you get them out, the better. Well, I'm going to be 70 this year, so I think I got my 10,000 drawings out of me a while ago. But I don't use that as a reason to not draw anymore. I don't like to think of myself as having arrived. I think it's a beautiful opportunity to keep growing. I believe the great artist Hokusai, I believe, said something to the effect that he didn't think he'd start getting good until he was in his 80s. And I thought that was a very interesting thing to say. I don't know how long he lived, but I think there was a lot of wisdom behind what he was saying. And it makes sense because the more you do something, obviously, the better you're going to be at it. So there you go. And the sooner you get started correctly, the better. So remember that drawing is something that you develop and increase on it each time you do it. You pick up as much as you can from other people, and that's really helpful, or it can be. You find your niche, the things that you do well. You build off of the things that you do well. And this is why I often tell students to draw things in their sketchbook that they like, because that way you tend to grow from that point. If you like something, you're probably going to put a tremendous amount of effort in getting it right. And as a result of that, you automatically improve yourself as an artist. Don't rely on shortcuts as a means to develop your style or as a means to develop yourself as an artist. Go through things in a very methodical way. You build a house with a foundation. You start with a strong foundation. You build up the framework, and then you build the house and the things around it. And, the last thing you do is the decorating. So you want to get a strong structure underneath, so that the house that you're building is solid, and that it will withstand. Your artwork is the same way. People can look at what you do and they can tell whether you have a strong base or not. Some things are, flimsy because they're built on flimsy premises. And even things that are done mechanically can be like that. I sort of look at AI in that way, and that AI sort of steals from everything that it can, because AI is basically a computer program that can reach out and extract what it needs from anything that's existing. And of course, because it's a machine and a computer, it can do it faster than any human can. What it can't do is it can't copy the emotions. It can't communicate love. It can't communicate fear or not wisdom or experience. It can mimic what someone else's experiences are and put them down. But when you take some other experience out of context and just stick it on something that you're doing, you're not communicating that particular thing. You're just putting an image up that will look like something that represents something, but you won't know what it represents. As human beings, we create out of our heart, out of our passions, out of our experiences. And will a computer do that? I don't believe it's possible for it to do. The computer can only take the lead from the one that's operating the computer. And so, while I think has a lot of advantages, obviously it does, I don't think it's a replacement for what's in your heart. I think of it as a tool, just like I would think of a pencil being a tool, to be honest. I do believe that AI in the hands of artists could be very, very good, because artists can create their own assets that the AI can access. I think that would be where you probably will see the greatest AI artwork, is when artists learn how to create assets that the AI can access. Now, of course, I'm not a techie person, so I don't know how all of this works. But if the AI is drawing from something that exists already, if you give it a parameter of what it can draw from, and if that parameter is that area is the stuff that you're doing, then that way the computer is drawing upon you and what you feel. Now, it still is going to be limited, I would think. And the more you tell it to do, the more it's going to extrapolate between all the stuff you've given it. So you still have to come back to emotion. The AI can't know what your true emotion is going to be because it isn't necessarily something that you can put down, even in one picture, to be honest. When you're telling a story and you're going from moment to moment to moment, notice how your feelings and emotions change. Well, you can't catalog that. In fact, a lot of times you're really trying your best, even as an artist, to depict how you feel from moment to moment. The computer can't get in your head and know ahead of time what emotion you're trying to put down. But what it can do is take the things that you have done that are similar to what you're trying to feel and spit those back at you. We have to learn how to use technology with us and as a complement to our minds, not as a replacement. All too often, these creations are thought of in a way of replacing people. And of course, that's very left brain thinking. Is we're artists, we're right brain thinkers, so to speak. And so we know that the computer can't really do that. You notice how when you watch an AI image, and I see a lot of these on YouTube, and they're beautifully done. I mean, when you look at some of these little AI things, they're really nice, very beautifully rendered illustrations. They're really nice. But do you notice how a lot of the actions are very similar? How a lot of the expressions are very similar? I don't know. I've noticed lately, like, they always put these beautiful, sexy looking girls in these AI YouTube videos. And I remember the very first time I saw them, I thought, oh, that's really cool looking. And then they started to get them to react. And I remember one of the first things I saw was the girl would turn slowly and she'd smile. A very beautiful smile. Then I noticed that every time I saw a girl, she had the same kind of smile because the AI is pulling, a lot of the same thing. Somebody else will maybe say, oh, well, no, don't use that smile, use this one or whatever. But see, all the AI can do is pull what you tell it. But the thing is that when I kept seeing it, it started to become funny to me because I realized that while that's a beautiful smile, it's not connected to any real true emotion or something that somebody's trying to communicate. Somebody just thinks, oh, that looks good. That's a nice smile. Yeah, in context of what? Why is she smiling? For what reason? What is the reaction? What's caused her to smile like that? See, that's what's behind the performance is the performance or is the thing you're trying to convey. When you go and see an actor do something, what is the actor conveying? Something. There's some emotion behind it. Well, you could take that reaction and you could use elements of it somewhere, but there's no purity to the thing you're going to make now. All you're going to get is a technical replica of something that has a face that's similar to something that you're thinking about on a prompt. It's not going to communicate a real heartfelt thing. See what I mean? That's one of the reasons why AI will, just the way it's being used now, it's not the way to use it. So anyway, I just thought I would take a moment to say that because there's a lot of fear that I think artists have about AI. And I think it's a shame that they have that fear when I see it like I see the computer and the digital art world as just another tool to help us do our job better. So for all that's worth, that was my little chat on AI, or at least one of them anyway. So what are we drawing? I don't know. Let's see. We scribbled and we don't know. So we'll erase the scribble because I don't know if that's what I want. Let's see. Well, I always notice I always start with heads a lot of times. I like to start with heads because, I like to get down to faces. Yeah, down to faces. Let's do a girl because I like girls, yes. Can't see enough girls. There we go. All right. So, see, maybe shape that there. Okay. Interesting. All right, Let's see. Okay. Let's get that air there. Interesting, interesting. Well, let's see. Uh, let's make it a bit smaller so we can add a body. Let's see. Somebody's well endowed. Packet, whatever. Okay. So, all right. You know, it's interesting to notice too. Like, I notice that almost all artists, we all tend to draw women very, let's say similarly, but it's like women seem to appear, women seem to be the central point, you notice, of most art. You know? It's because, well, it's because women are inspirational beings, you know, well, they're inspirational humans, okay? And, you know, I guess, in the back in the day, most artists were men. Now, I'm sure there were women artists, but for some reason we don't hear as much about them. But you know they existed. I mean, I can't imagine that there weren't any female artists around. They probably were. But, well, let's see. I guess I'll keep the naughty bits in the pants there. We'll cover her up. There we go. We might have kids watching. We don't want that. Don't want the adults getting on my case about that one. There we go. Hoo-ha. Let's see. Um, hmm. I have no idea what is she gonna do here. I don't know. She's got her hand out. I don't know why I have this idea that she's catching a ball. Why would she be catching a ball? Is it basketball? I don't know. Gosh, that's strange. Something that just got thrown to her from off camera. Yeah, okay. I don't know where that came from. You got me, folks. I don't know. Well, I may as well put some little things in her. Like, I forget what you call those. Wristband things. Whatever. I don't know. Okay, so she's catching a ball. Okay. Well, let's see. So she caught a ball. All right. Well, fine. Let's see. Then we'll add a layer and we'll clean her up a bit here. Let's see. What can we do? We'll go with the brown line. Yeah, brown line. Let's see. So I go bigger so we can see the line better. Let's see. So all the stuff on the skin will, we'll make the line a brown color. No, that's too thick though. Let's get that line thinner. Yeah. There we go. You know, I can't imagine what it must have been like for in the old days when they would do animated cartoons and they'd have to ink cells, which is a job I used to do before I worked in a studio. I remember one of the first jobs I ever had in animation was inking cells, which was, boy, that's a pretty exacting job. But what I remembered about it was that I kept thinking, oh, this is cool because this is the last line of defense. This is the thing that your ink drawing is actually the thing that people actually see when they go to the theater to see the movie. So they're not actually seeing the animator's drawing, they're actually seeing your ink drawing. I know you used to tell us that, oh, well, the assistance drawing is the one you see. Yeah, well, if they're Xeroxing it, yeah. But if they're inking it, you're not seeing even the assistance drawing. You're really seeing the inker drawing. So I just remember thinking, like, wow. I don't know, kind of in some ways it put a little pressure on you because, you say, oh, well, I got to make a really nice drawing, right? Because, that's the one that's going to be on the screen, right? Which is true. See, today, because we got computers and everything, there's so many lines of defense now between us and the audience. It's like, what is actually being created by an artist out of the hand of the artist? It's just interesting to see how many layers there are between the artist who does the animation and the final thing that you see on the screen. So a lot of things happen before you get to that point. So, yeah. But I guess in a way, that's what makes the art form of animation so beautiful, is that when you stop and think about all the people that are contributing to what you finally see, the fact that it's a cohesive thing at all is really kind of remarkable, really, when you think about it, because you've got all of these people contributing to this idea, and all you can do is kind of hope that all of us are on the right page, that all of us are that all of us are contributing as we should. So, because it'd be real easy to get it wrong. It'd be real easy for everybody to kind of be off on their own tangent, doing their own thing, and not following the person that came before them. Because our natural tendency as artists is to do that. The natural tendency would be, well, I want to do this my way. I want it to look like my art. So animation is one of those art forms that demands that, because it requires collaboration in order to be completed, you just automatically have to come at the process of doing it very differently. So you can't, you have to let go of that individuality completely, or you have to put it in a different place. I guess that would be the better way to say it. Is, yeah, you're putting the you're putting the emphasis in a different place in terms of who gets the credit, right, for creating something. If you're doing the artwork yourself, if it's purely your own thing, right, then you do it, and that's it, right? It's your idea, it's your drawing, you drew it, blah blah. It's all it's all done. But because it's an animated project, and because usually it's done through a what do you call it, a production line, you're going to have to share that responsibility. You can't take all of it upon yourself. You have to decide that you're going to give up a certain amount of control. You have to decide, okay, well, I guess, if this is going to get done, I got to do this part, and then somebody else is going to come along and do a different part, and right? And then at some point way down the road, we're going to have this finished production that hopefully is going to look really good. right? And that is exactly how we tend to think of it, really. We think of it as a collective um, collaboration because that's what it is. It is a collaboration. We are collaborating, you know, or we should be. Yeah, we should be. I like better like that. So, there we go. This animation is just so labor intensive, though. It's just so many steps, so many things you have to do to get it to its final thing. It's just a lot of steps. So it's not easy. When I look at the great old Disney cartoons, I just think, man, this what those people had to go through to accomplish some of the films that they made is just fantastic. Some of the level of quality and the level of storytelling that they were capable of doing was it's just beyond anything that you could. I mean, I look at stuff. I mean, this film like Bambi, for instance. I look at it. I mean, how in the world? Some of those, they're just amazing. How they worked, how well they worked. That's the thing that I always boggled my mind. It's like, how do they do that? How do they accomplish that kind of thing? Because it's not easy, and it isn't easy. It isn't. So, anyways, let's see. Oops. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Hmm. Well, I guess you could put a line on it, couldn't you? Yeah, you could do this. Oops, that didn't work. Okay, and then let's see. What did I want to do here? Oh, right, on the earring. Let's see. Maybe I'll go with. No. Well, I suppose I could do kind of a gold color here. Let's see. I could do underneath or on top. Let's go with there, there, right. Go up to. So put that line behind. So that's all behind. There we go. Taking a lot more time on this one. Let's see. Boom. So All right, let's see. I'll turn off that. Then let's see. What do we do here? All right, we got. So let's connect. So that the paint doesn't fall through. So go with. Oh yeah, let's see. Hang on a second here. The color will go right into her eye. Okay, so I've got to work underneath. So there. Right. Okay. All right. So then it should fill all right. So yeah, there we go. For some reason, my hand is not filling. Let's go up. Must be a break in there somewhere. Well, let's see. Must be on this side. Let's work underneath this. See if that fills it. There we go. Oops, go back the other way. All right. I think I was going to go with black on her hair. Yeah, because I like the. Okay, and then the lips red, of course. That color. There's a dark gray on the armbands. Let's see, maybe blue or purple. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Maybe go with a darker color on the underneath skirt. There we go. Let's come up. And let's see how we got skin color there. So we want. There we go. That's kind of fun. Probably want to go with a background color here. Let's see. Green. So yellow instead of green. Like that. Like that. It's hard to say. Well, let's see. If I do something like this. Okay, but then you gotta make sure you put whites in her eyes. So let's see. Come up. Whites. Yeah. So we have the white of the paper behind it before. Yeah. That's interesting. Well, there you go. Well, it took a little bit longer on this one than I normally would. Oh, that's right. We got to get the effect there on her, the catching the ball. Right. Let's see. How about we'll do a soft lead on this, so that when the ball comes in, like that. So I want to. That's the hard part. So what if I can do this? How did I do that? Was it F, G? I think it was C, wasn't it? Oh, no, it's C. Turn it sideways, so then I can get the. Because you got to get a direction for where your hand can. That's what I'm doing. That's why I turned it sideways like that. So I was trying to remember how my program turned my board. So let's see. No, I got to get the other way. There we go. All right, so she catches the ball. Poop. There we go. That's kind of fun. Well, all right. So fun drawing for the day. Hoo-ha. Yeah, it took a little longer than usual. It's because I did my little talk ahead of time. That's why. Yammering. So anyway, yeah, this is a bit long. All right, folks. We'll have a great day. Work on your drawing. Keep your interests up. Always draw things that you like. Have fun. Have a great day. Remember, Jesus is Lord.